What's up guys, Barry here with another Maschine tutorial, and in today's video we're going to talk about the 808. More specifically, I'm going to show you how to make your own perfectly tuned 808 inside of Maschine, as well as give you some tips and tricks as to how to give that 808 some character and bounce, and lastly, we'll use the 808 that we made towards an actual beat. Before we get started guys, just a quick reminder, down in the description, there's some timestamps to the different sections and topics that we cover in this video. So to get started, let's make our own 808 inside a Maschine. So learning how to make my own 808 has saved me tons of time and money, and now I'm not using those resources on different sound libraries. So hopefully this can do the same for you guys. Step 1 in this process is you're going to open up an internal drum synth, and when you select kick, it's going to open up the sub engine. At first, it's going to give you a very wimpy, uninspired sound, but it's a great foundation to making our own 808. So for this example, we're going to turn the decay all the way up. The bend and time parameter goes hand in hand. So for the music that I make, I tend to keep the bend all the way down, but there's a lot of great practical applications for this. The drum synth also gives you 3 different attack options where you can adjust the amount that you want in your sound. So for the purposes of today's video, we want the cleanest 808 we can get, so we're just going to turn the attack all the way down. I've opened up an instance of Guitar Rig so we can use a tuner as a visual aid. So now when I hit middle C, the note that gets generated by the drum synth is the note G. So in my opinion, that's a little annoying. If I want to press the C key, I want to get the C note. So the key number here, guys, is 48.00. So if we tune our drum synth to 48.00, when we hit the C key, we're also going to generate the C note. And there we have it guys, a perfectly tuned 808. Now as we move up and down the keyboard, you can see that whatever note we push will result in that perfect pitched 808. Now, if you want to turn that 808 into audio, just draw in a MIDI note, go to your wave icon, and you can just drag it onto another empty pad. And for the purposes of this video, I'll just normalize it. So I'm going to open up the sampling window and just hit normalize. And to rename it, I'll just double click it and type in 808C. This is a great way to make your own 808 kits or even your own drum kits by that matter. You can always go back into your drum synth. So let's say here we want to make a medium length 808. We just do the same thing. We'll change the decay and we'll drag it onto another pad. Alright guys, so that's a little 808 sound design. Just remember that number 48.00 to get that perfectly tuned 808. And you can spend an hour, spend a day, and make your own folder of your own crafted 808 sounds. With that said, let's add some effects and take a deeper dive into making our own 808 sound. So here, I just changed the audio instance to a sampler instance. It gives a little bit more flexibility when working with our newly made 808 sample. So the first thing we're going to do is change the polyphony from 8 to 1. The reason we want to do this is because we don't want the sounds to overlap each other. And furthermore, if you change it to legato, you get this glide feature which will give you a nice 808 slide. There's a couple more things we can do without leaving our sampler plugin. So if you head over to the effects and filter page, you can adjust the drive, which adds a little bit more distortion and character to your 808. The SR knob or your sample rate knob will downgrade your sample. Same with adjusting the bit rate, it just gives you more of that digital noise. And both of them together will get some great results. An effect that goes hand in hand with 808s is saturation or distortion. Adding distortion to your 808 will introduce some low mid and mid characters and add a little bit more punch to that 808 sample. And again, going back to the theme of making your own 808s, spend an hour, spend a day, save these samples, and make your own sounds and kits. Let's take this even deeper and make an infinitely long 808. So the first thing you're going to do is change your sample from one shot to ADSR, and that's going to allow you to activate the loop function in the zone window. So that loop function will only work while in ADSR mode. So despite it still being active, in ADH mode, it does not loop, as well as in one shot. So I see a lot of people saying that the loop function is broken. You just have to make sure you're in ADSR mode. Finding your loop sometimes isn't the easiest thing, but the key here is to find a full wave cycle. What works well for me is I try to grab a cycle from the beginning of my sample and I try to match my peaks. If your loop is too long, you'll result in a lower pitched note. And if it's too short, the pitch will be higher. So like I said, I try to match my peaks and get a full wave cycle. All right, cool. So we learned how to make a perfectly tuned 808 with Maschine's drum synth. We learned how to change the characteristics of our sample, and we learned how to loop and make an infinitely long 808. So the last thing I want to do is test out the 808 we just made. So I have this beat here and we'll just jam out. If this video brought value to you, please hit that thumbs up button. Down in the comments, let me know how you use your 808s. And of course, subscribe.